and welcome to I Want to Grow, and I Want to Grow is all about that, right? It's about our growth. But today it's a little different. We're here to celebrate 90 years of the British Council. And today I've got a wonderful guest, Dr. Zarqa. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast and celebrating.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
So I am a political sociologist, which is a social scientist. My work revolves around studying human behavior, social structures, political ideologies, political structures. And I'm an academic, so I write, I teach. Yes, and I'm a passionate human who loves doing things driven by purpose.
Driven by purpose. You're very young, but the achievements that you've already done are quite incredible. Tell us, what was the driver when you first started out?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think, I think it was innate, and this is no exaggeration, and this is exactly how I feel it. I think it was an innate sense of, ever since I was young, maybe 5 years old, my earliest memories of myself, I always had this inner passion of wanting to understand the world around us. I was fascinated by human behaviors, human societies, what drives us, what motivates us, what is our identity, who are we? Those were the questions I was asking myself from a very young age. I loved learning, I loved exploring, I loved writing. So I think that innate sense of purpose was there from the very beginning. And then as I started getting at my, education, primary, secondary, and then higher education, I realized I love history. I love social sciences. I love literature. I was educated in British schools here in Qatar. And then, so I was exposed to different cultures from a very young age, different languages, different people. I realized that growing up, that I wanted to understand different cultures, and I wanted to understand through that myself and help to make this world a better place by promoting cross-cultural understanding, by promoting, not diversity, because I think we're all diverse, but by promoting a shared sense of belonging, that we all belong to this world. We all have a place in this world. I wanted to make sure that I do my part in contributing to creating more prosperous, healthier societies where people can not just coexist, but understand and learn from each other. I think that is the point of being so different and so similar at the same time.
But you're going to be sacrificing your life to a certain degree, because there's not enough hours in the day for what you're doing.
I think you're absolutely right. And it does not feel like work, and it doesn't feel like sacrifice. I think it's my purpose. I enjoy doing it because as a social scientist and then a political sociologist. So I started out as a social scientist, which I felt was exactly what you're saying. Like, how am I going to do this? This is never ending. We're always changing. We're always evolving. There are so many aspects to it. How can I possibly study all types of histories? How can I possibly study all types of human behaviors? And then I went into studying political sociology, which is studying state society structures, structures of governance, political organization, ideologies. It really doesn't feel like work because, it feels like fun to me. I really enjoy it. And I often make a joke, like my favorite hobby is to read. I love reading, even in the age of artificial intelligence where we have access to quick information. I love reading. I love observing. And it doesn't feel like work. I feel like it's just a natural part of who I am.
You touched just briefly, and I want to expand on that just briefly, because you say history, and now you said AI.
Yes.
And the quickness. Do you think do you think it just speeds it up? I love AI. Do you think it speeds the process up so you can find exactly what you're looking for sooner?
I think so. AI is such a huge topic. I think when it first came by, there was a sense of fear and a sense of anxiety and panic. And I went through that too, especially as an educator. I was teaching students who were expected to write essays, blog posts, and now they could do that online. I think AI, artificial intelligence, has negatives and positives to it. And it is artificial intelligence for a reason. It's driven by human intelligence. So it has a lot of limitations. And I say that because I'm trying to incorporate that into my research, into my teaching. I think it can give us quick answers, but sometimes we don't need quick answers. Sometimes we need slow answers. Sometimes you can use it for a summary, but the knowledge that you will get by reading a book, a page within an hour, rather than getting summaries so fast, is very different from getting quick information. I mean, you have access to a lot of information, but can you absorb it? Can you take it all in? No, that's not possible. AI has given us access to more information and different modalities of learning, but we as human brains, we have a certain way of understanding and certain limitations in understanding and absorbing information. So I think it has made our job easier, but we must be very careful, I think, in how we use it, how we incorporate it. I don't think that AI should be seen as an alternative to reading, to writing. But of course, for example, in research, for example, if you're writing a book or an article, or if you're trying to prepare for an interview, it can help you. It could be, you can see it as your personal assistant or somebody that helps you manage your thoughts.
Yeah.
So it's definitely made our lives easier, but I'd be very careful on how to incorporate it, especially for younger students.
I want to take you back to the classroom where it was the first time that you had students. Yes. What was that like? Did you sleep the night before?
Oh, wow. Okay. So that was a while ago. My first ever experience in the classroom was a couple of years ago. I was still a PhD student. Of course, it wasn't something new because I was a teaching assistant before that. So I was a TA for a couple of years. I was exposed to classrooms. I was very lucky enough to be with some of my great past professors being their TA in the classroom. But the first experience that I had in the classroom was surreal because I knew for a while that I wanted to get into academia and I wanted to teach. But when I first was able to sit in front of a classroom full of students, it was surreal because I felt like I found my calling. It was very natural because I always believe that if it comes natural, it's for you. And if you have to work really hard for it, then it's probably not the best thing for you. And I think once I started doing it, it was natural, the ways in which I was able to communicate and connect with students. I knew writing was my gift, but when I started being in the classroom for the first time, it was like, okay, maybe talking to people. It didn't feel like teaching. It felt like a dialogue. It was so easy. It felt like I was talking to them. They were talking back to me. I was able to create my own style of teaching without practice, really. So I didn't sleep the night before and the night after because I think it's a deeply beautiful and meaningful thing when you find your purpose in life.
Yeah.
I don't know if the path after that is easy.
I don't think it's going to be easy for you. Because I see one is I see that passion in you. I see your eyes light up when you're talking about the students and you're talking about empowering them. But I also see a driven lady that is absolutely out there to better herself and do as much as she can for as many people as she possibly can.
Right. That's absolutely right.
But that's that's kind of sometimes, how are you going to, that's a really difficult one to handle.
So, I think I don't think the path ever is easy in anything. And I think that's part of, and we're going to the philosophical side now, but I think it's the journey, our journey in life. It's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be worth it. So I think there's always the good and the bad. There's difficult times, the easy times. And that's what makes it meaningful and enjoyable. It's doing things, being able to fail, being able to stand up. I'm no longer a perfectionist. So I used to believe in doing everything perfectly. And now I feel like ever since I finished my education in the UK and ever since the long journey of PhD, I realized things don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have absolute answers. You know, sometimes there are no easy answers. The beauty is in the discovery, in the journey, in learning and unlearning, in making mistakes and understanding that you could be wrong. But that's okay. You can learn again. And your ability to do your best. And so that once you reach the end of your life, you know, for me, I want to feel like I've done everything that I could do. I've exhausted every bit of passion, every bit of energy within me. So I'm not aiming to be perfect. I'm aiming to just do my best. And that could change. That could change with time.
Did you feel that time was against you in the early days?
What do you mean? Like when I was doing my PhD?
Because I seem to meet so many people like yourself, because you are very young and you've achieved a great deal. But I look at when I'm mentoring two young ladies at the moment, and one's 20 and one's 24, and it's just going too quickly, and they're panicking because there's just so many things that are happening at once.
Yes. Okay, I understand that. So I think, you know, I didn't think about it when I was in the process, like, of my academic journey. I think I went really fast. So I finished my bachelor's here at Georgetown in 2013, and within 3-4 months after that, I was in the UK doing my master's. I was at SOAS, and
where was that in the UK?
SOAS, School of Oriental African Studies. Okay. That's where I did my master's, and then
where was that then?
It was in 2013.
Okay.
So 2013 May, I graduated here from Georgetown. I studied international politics, and then in September 2013, I started my master's in SOAS, School of Oriental African Studies. I studied master's.
But where is that in London? Is it in London? Or?
Is it central? It's central London.
Central London.
Yes.
Okay, I've not heard of this.
So it's central London. It's where UCL is. It's right behind the Oxford Street.
Yeah.
And so it's the Russell Square. I don't know if there's this very famous Russell Square, the Russell Group.
Yeah.
And that's the tube that I used to take.
Yeah.
The Russell Square. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I always wanted to do my master's there because SOAS, if you go there, it's such a diverse place. You know, it is in the heart of London, and London is known for its diversity.
Yeah.
But you'll see that it's filled with different types of people, different backgrounds, different cultures, even those who are British. You find them, they bring their own experiences. It's the place to be, you know, if you want to study social sciences, linguistics, politics, Middle Eastern politics, post-colonial theory. It was just exciting. And when I first went in there, at first I was like, what am I doing this? This is too early. I just finished my bachelor's. And then when I went in there, I was like, oh my God, this doesn't feel like studying. This is so much fun. Because I was learning by doing. You know, we had all these amazing cultural festivals, all these amazing conferences, interactions with different scholars, different thought processes. It was amazing. That's where I think that's where I really established or gained my sense of love for scholarship, for knowledge production.
Wow, you are one smart lady. And I love the way that you're explaining it. It's wonderful. We're here today to celebrate 90 years of the British Council. I find them absolutely phenomenal. I was one of those people that didn't know too much about them, and that was 65 podcasts now. Before I knew about them, I didn't realize just how much of an impact that they have on people's lives and the ripples that they create all over the world. That's continuous. You're pretty much, you love the British Council. You were telling me, I can't wait to talk about this subject. But you're achieving great things within the British Council now. You're alumni, and you're winning awards and going for different competitions. Tell us about that side of the.
So I do think British Council has evolved a lot. They've done great work in bringing together different people and connecting with the society here or wherever they are present. They connect with the society. They're able to have these meaningful dialogues, conversations. And I think that is what's important, is that if you're, wherever you're present in the world, that it has to be meaningful and not just superficial kind of engagement. And I think British Council is doing very meaningful engagement with the society. I recently, I was part of their 90th celebrations. I was part of a small documentary that they made about identity and belonging, which is also part of my research. And then a few months ago, I won the British Alumni Awards in social action category. And that was, I think it was a really humbling and a really beautiful experience. It brought back so many memories of my education in the UK. I think what was very special was they got in touch with some of my colleagues.
Oh, that was special.
Yeah, in Durham University. So I studied in SOAS and then at Durham University for my PhD. And that was beautiful because Durham was different. It was much smaller. It was a smaller city. It feels like a village. There isn't much to do. There's the beautiful cathedral, beautiful library. So it was interesting for me. I was very touched by the fact that they got in touch with some of my
I was there that
colleagues.
night. I thought it was very emotional.
I was really moved. I was moved, especially because when I did my PhD for the last year, I had to be here only because I did it during COVID. So I was writing, it was my writing phase. I was able to write from here. But I think it's beautiful how they brought together these memories. They were able to, we had this series of discussions with them where they asked me about my time there, the memories that I had in Durham University and in SOAS. I think they were able to create a beautiful story. And I think the award to me was more than just this kind of celebration of my achievements, if you will, but it was more about the ways in which they were able to help me tell a story that was personal, and the visibility that I created was about my story, not just about the material aspect of.
I've got to say that, and I was there on the award ceremony, and I thought all those interactions with your head, the principal or something, and they would say messages about you, I thought was fantastic. And it was something that it's going to last with you forever.
I do. And I think, doing your PhD at a young age, a lot of us have this imposter syndrome where you think that, you're not doing enough or you're not doing it right enough. But hearing from your colleagues back from the university, I think that is there's a really beautiful moment. It really kind of makes everything worth it.
And I think that with you, talking to you for the very first time, and listening to your story and listening to the way that you're putting, before you're thinking about yourself, you're obviously thinking about your education, but you're thinking about what you can do for others. And you've got to celebrate those wins that you get along the way. So don't you ever feel kind of that they're humbling, yes, but there's something to tick for you to say you're doing a great job. You're doing a real great job. So congratulations on that. What kind of things are you going to be doing with the British Council in the future?
I'm open to different types of collaborations with them. But let me tell you a little bit about what I'm hoping to achieve or hoping to get out of this relationship with British Council is, that as a political sociologist and a social scientist, my work, my education deeply motivated the work that I do, which is creating more cohesive, better connected societies with a rigorous cultural, intellectual exchange on multiple fronts. And that's because when I was in the UK, I studied nationalism. I studied nation building nationalism, and that was really inspiring because a lot of the theorists of nationalism and national identity originated from the UK. It is a concept that originated from the West, but UK played a central part. So, theorists like Anthony Smith, Ernest Gellner, Benedict Anderson, who came up with the concept of imagined communities, and then Eric Hobsbawm, who came up with the concept of invented tradition, and multiple different theorists who spoke about post-colonialism, etc. To me, I identified a gap there and then, that there is this huge interest in studying the Gulf, or being in the Gulf, working with the Gulf, but there is some sort of gap in understanding the Gulf with deeply contextual perspectives. So I wanted to bring some of those Western concepts and those Western frameworks and see whether or not we can use them here. And so my approach was never the one to be critical for the sake of being critical, or to hate, because that's creating more othering. I wanted to see how we could promote mutual understanding by creating better knowledge and making it more accessible. In other words, not just writing in academic journals, but writing in journals or in art or in different platforms where the normal public who are not academics could read it. And I think that kind of collaboration is what I'm looking for in the British Council, to use it as a venue to speak more about my work, to do more of that, to fill in the gap. Whether it's on the socio-cultural front or academic or knowledge front. I know there's a lot of experts on the Gulf in the UK and elsewhere, but I still think that there is this big gap in really creating cross-cultural understanding, specifically on the knowledge front, because knowledge drives everything. Research drives everything. It drives policy, it drives politics, it drives the society that we live in. So I want to be able to do that kind of exchange through multiple platforms.
And with living in Qatar and being born in Qatar, that's going to be an incredible advantage, because you're going to have experience. So you're going to be able to put that experience, but also put that knowledge into practice.
That is what I'm hoping to do, is to put that knowledge into practice. And this is why during my PhD years, I actually started writing for Middle East Monitor, which is based in the UK, by the way. It's a media outlet that publishes articles, videos, podcasts focused on the Middle East, but it's based in the UK. And it was just a few years ago into my PhD that I decided, you know what, we need to create better knowledge. Like, I was going to these conferences, I was talking to different people who I thought had maybe a little bit of superficial understanding of the region. So I wanted to make knowledge accessible. And I started writing these opinion pieces that were in easy to understand language, but they were nevertheless academic. So you could have access to knowledge from this region on multiple topics: political, economic, sports. And I wrote quite a lot during the FIFA 2022, because that was the time where Qatar was under spotlight, and there was a lot of misconceptions, a lot of Orientalist narratives, and I think it did reach a lot of different audiences. Some of those articles were translated into Spanish.
Yep. I was the England fan leader with the Supreme Committee.
Oh, wow, okay.
For the World Cup, and I was disappointed with the interpretation of what Qatar is, because for me, Qatar is probably the best country in the world I've ever been.
I agree.
And
I agree.
You were talking about the education and the sports and the health, and there's just so many things to shout about and so many things to celebrate. Georgetown is one of those, because it's extremely a great university, and it does give people so much knowledge in that one of those first steps to go on and go and visit the world. And that's exactly what you're doing, and I give you full credit for that, because that's not an easy challenge, but I think that it's kind of, you've done it the hard way. But those hard ways are going to be things that you look back on in years to come to say, those are the momentous moments for me. And that's what you're going to look at when you look back.
No, you're absolutely right. I think Georgetown is a great place. The entire Education City or Qatar Foundation is a great concept, because it brings global local. So it brings global education, really high quality, international education. Some are Ivy League schools like Georgetown. And so they bring them here and to be able to create opportunities for those who are not able to travel abroad. But I think there's a different aspect to it as well. That is, by being here, these schools and these universities are also able to learn not just about Qatar, but about the region, about the Middle East, about Islam, about Arab and non-Arab communities in the region, and the knowledge production, the research, or the intercultural and intellectual exchange that happens is so much more meaningful and deeper than you would see even in DC. And I've seen that firsthand. Yeah. First as a student and now as somebody who researched and taught there. I mean, it's so much more deeper, informed by different critical perspectives. And that research has impacted policy. I mean, I will tell you that when during FIFA, I was at that point I was adjunct faculty at Georgetown, and I engaged with multiple media outlets who were wanting to talk to people from the region. So I spoke to various whether it was radio channels, TV channels from Switzerland, from Germany, from Korea, from Spain, who were just wanted to talk to the people here, and I think being able to do that through Georgetown and being able to do that here, living here and researching here, was deeply meaningful. And I saw, because I spoke to, they were, a lot of those TV presenters or like interviewers were here. They were visiting Qatar, and the conversations I had with them, I can tell you firsthand, it debunked many myths. It cleared a lot of misconceptions, and I can tell you that they were all coming in with certain questions and preconceived notions of what this region is about. And then when we had those conversations, we had that dialogue, I was able to tell them about nation building and nationalism and how things were in Europe and how they developed and how this part of the world is different, but we also have a lot in common. I think that those dialogues made a big difference.
I agree with you, and I think the British Council is one of those players that just bring people together from all over the world. And with different abilities, writers, creatives, painters, musicians. It's just phenomenal what they're doing, just to name a few. And what they do is it's incredible. But Qatar is full of those incredible people. And I think you're one of those incredible people.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Because we've got to consistently work it. We've got to consistently work it what we love. And it's something it's always work in progress. So congratulations on the things that you're doing. I've got one question to ask you, and it's one that, in one word, that I've got to ask every guest, and it's in one word. What does the British Council mean to you?
Oh, I think I would say that's a difficult one. A place for dialogue. I think the space for dialogue. Yeah. And we have to carve those out more and more. Yeah. Yeah. And then it's evolving, it's changing.
I think
it's growing. Yeah.
The world is in a very kind of difficult situation today. And we've got to find all those people that want the best for this world. And again, we've got to have that dialogue, and we've got to work together, and we've got to support and encourage each other. And that's what you're doing, and that's what the British Council does for me.
I think you're absolutely right. I think, unfortunately, we're living in days where the world is becoming more and more polarized. Contrary to what I expected, like growing up, we thought that this is the age of globalization, and not that globalization is without any flaws. There's a lot of criticism on it. But the idea was that the world is coming together, the distance is shrinking, we're learning about different types of people, we're traveling more often, and so we'll have a world of better understanding, more cohesion, more diversity, and coexistence. Because we're meant to coexist. We share this planet together, and that's our basic identity. We're all humans before we're anything else. But I think the world we live in now is unfortunately becoming very polarized. There is a lot of othering. There is a lot of, hatred that's fueled in by populism and negative nationalism. not because there is a positive take to nationalism, but this negative national, this group feeling, this kind of us against them, I think we need to broaden our dialogue, and we need to remind ourselves what brings us together, and also identify where there is injustice.
I think that we've all got to find a voice. Sometimes we're a little intimidated to use that sometimes, and I wish that I could use my voice a little bit more. But I think that what we've got to keep on doing is keep on, for me, talking to people like you, because I want people to empathize with exactly what you're doing, and I want them to go away and look at it and go, you know something, that's exactly what I want to do, and get faith in what you've achieved, and that's exactly what I want to do. So thank you so much for coming to talk with us today. You keep up that great work of yours. I know it can't be easy. It must be 24/7.
Yes, it is. It is 24/7. But we learn to balance. We learn to enjoy life and to prioritize. We learn what's priority, and it's the small things that are big.
Keep on making the world a better place. Thank you so much for coming on today.